everybody, JB Kuma here. I'm just going to demonstrate how I do the unstable or prototype style blade. This will work for a string blade, pixel blade, or a regular high power LED blade. You're definitely going to want some gloves for this, and what you're going to need is some clear silicone caulking. It comes in a caulking gun style like this, or it'll come in a little squeezy tube. And I've already done one layer on here. The last couple times I've done it, I've done 2 layers. The more layers you put on, the more texture you get, the more diffusion you'll get. May dim the color after a little while, but it's pretty good. And it's really easy. All you do is squeeze some on. And it doesn't really matter how much you get on at a time. You can always add more. You're just trying to get some to work with, because as you'll see, the real magic is the reason you have these gloves on. So what you're going to do is just kind of swipe it on, squish it around. You're going to just grip it and pull off really quick, and that's going to give you little stringy bits that give you that kind of energy, blasty, kind of flamey look, like the old retro artwork, or the Kylo Ren style unstable blade. I originally did this blade with a round tip, and I switched to using a bullet tip, because obviously for this style blade that kind of makes more sense. And this stuff doesn't smell too good. So you want to be in a well ventilated area, and also avoid as best as you can getting it on your skin. If it wasn't really hot in here, I would be wearing long sleeves. Last time I did this, I got some on my arm, and I didn't realize it when I tried to rinse it all off. I missed a spot, and about 20 minutes later I had a nice burning sensation on my arm. So best to just avoid that altogether. So, oops. Yeah, so I just have it hanging on a little bent piece of solid strand wire here. So just kind of get it to look around, make sure it looks the way you want, and then just leave it sit for an hour or so, or whatever the particular clear silicone you get suggests that you do with that. And yeah, and you don't really need to worry about where you stop at the end of the blade. It's good to make a mark beforehand with the blade in your saber, so you know where to trim. But once it's cured, you can just score a line around there with a X-Acto knife or any kind of hobby razor, and it'll just peel off. As a matter of fact, this blade, I just peeled it all off to redo it anyway. So, yep, that's that. So, as you can see here, I have the aviation connector, the adapter to put it in the blade, and then it's just wired up. The ground is on opposite sides for this particular strip, and the same for the 5-volt with the signal up the middle. So I have that just soldered to this pin, and when I made the connector for the hilt, I just made sure those pins lined up to make life a little bit easier there. So I've just pulled off about 5 feet of the cellophane like you normally would for any saber blade diffusion, and this just has the clear closed cell packing foam, and the same basic process for doing the cellophane. And then I'm just going to line it up here and basically roll it on here the same way that I rolled it off of the cardboard tube before I cut it. Since some of the cellophane is going to be inside of the tube, inside the hilt, it's not totally essential to make sure it stays square. That does make it a little bit easier since it's not going to run into the adapter end of your blade, so it's good to keep it relatively square, but like I said, it's not essential. But the cellophane is really a big part of making sure your blade looks nice and even. As important as any other part of building your pixel blade. So, that all wrapped up. I just need to trim off the extra. This is about a 32-inch blade and 40-inch material. Just take my handy scissors here. It's probably hard to see on camera, but the end of the blade's right there. I can see it pretty clearly here in person. And there you go. And yep, so that's it for wrapping the blade. Here you can see the silicone is cured. Now if this was a plumbing project or something around the house where you needed to worry about it really curing, you're going to want to wait a whole day. But a couple hours and it's in pretty good shape as far as putting your saber together goes. It's not tacky or anything to the touch, and that's really the only thing that's important as far as we're concerned. So it's going to go in there like that. I already have holes from the first time I put the blade together, so I'm just going to put my screws in and then I'll light this up. Blade in my hilt with the DIY Eno and our FX-SaberOS, formerly known as lightsaber OS, and light up. It's nice and even. It's obviously hard to tell these things on camera. It's actually more obvious in the camera where the shadow from the edge of the strips is than it is in person, and it lights up all the way. The ball tip doesn't light up quite as well as the rounded tip, but it still looks pretty good. Once again, looks better in person than on camera. So there you have it. It's a nice, bright, even blade. Looks pretty good in daylight also. I guess next time I have a chance I'll record something outside so you guys can see how that looks. Anyway, thanks again for watching.